Welcome to the Investor Fuel Real Estate Investing Show, where I interview the nation's top real estate entrepreneurs, industry leaders, and other amazing entrepreneurs to help educate and inspire you to take your business and your life to the next level. My goal is to add tremendous value to you during every single episode of this show. If you get value, I'd love it if you subscribe on your favorite podcast player, subscribe on YouTube, and my very favorite, please share this with your community so we can impact even more entrepreneurs. Let's start today's show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Today I'm here, we're in the studio actually with my friend Kevin Hames. Kevin and I've been using Kevin for a long time for flooring and materials for our rehabs that we've done here in the Dallas market. And now he works with investors all over the country to provide products, namely flooring and cabinets. So we're going to talk about flooring and cabinets today, but we're also going to talk about sourcing products from overseas to help save money for your projects. So Kevin, good to see you, my friend.
Good seeing you, Mike.
Yeah, we've been using you guys. I know you've changed your name and brands over the years, but I won't say any of the names, but since you were a couple names ago, I think back in 2008 is when we started.
Is that when it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's 17 years.
Yeah.
That is a long time.
Yeah. So appreciate you. So I know we're going to talk about kind of sourcing products, and at the end of the day, everybody's looking for ways to save money and simplify their business, and I think that's kind of the theme today is like how can you save money and simplify your business. But before we jump in, I know you've been a real estate investor. You've owned several different flooring companies, some other probably products as well. I know you do cabinets obviously as well. But tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into the flooring business, and then ultimately how you got into real estate and how you got to basically being you're essentially a wholesaler now, right? You're wholesaling products for real estate investors. Yeah.
Yes, I am. That's true. So I believe it or not, I bought my first house in 1982.
Okay.
As a real estate investor.
All right. And I was 8. I'm an old guy now, so I was 8 years old.
You're 8 years old, and you probably won't come across a deal like this. I bought 12 houses for $60,000, owner financed, and no payments for 5 years.
Wow.
So you just don't see those deals anymore.
No.
So that was the way I got into investing in real estate.
Yeah.
So, but I've been in the flooring business. I started in the flooring business in 1987, and I had it for 31 years before I sold it to my kids. And we started selling used carpet. Then we went to new carpet, and then we started selling laminate and tile and wood floors, and then we went to cabinets and countertops. So basically we were a company that you could come to us and we could sell you pretty much everything for your house, from the kitchen to the floors.
So I've heard this story before, and I forgot about the used carpet one. So I want to come back to that in a second.
Okay.
But you were a real estate investor before you owned a flooring company. So did you get into flooring because of real estate? Like you saw the opportunity there, or how did that come about? No,
actually, I got into real estate, and I had those 12 houses I bought, but then I started flipping. And so I got into flipping, and then in 1986, when the market crashed, I don't know when did I say I bought my first house in 1981?
You might have said 82 or
right. It was actually in 1981. But anyway, so then I got into flipping real estate and bought my house and fixed it up and resold it and say, okay, this can work. So anyway, then I got to 1986, and I was buying everything I was buying was red line areas. So
like imperfect? Is that what that means? Yeah.
Yeah. And and at that time, the interest rates were so high, the mortgage companies were giving out the money. And then, of course, what happened is the market totally crashed, and I pretty much lost everything.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up being a real estate investor. But then, so then I started selling carpet, but I got the carpet out of dumpsters. I put an ad in the newspaper to sell it, and then we would start selling it to landlords in South Dallas, and so we started making that's how we got into the carpet business.
Yeah, that's interesting. So who Who told you about getting into the used carpet business?
Well, back in 1982, I actually was in the used carpet business before I got into real estate.
Okay.
And what we would do is we had somebody who was in a high-rise or a very high-end apartment complex, and they changed the carpet every 5 years.
Okay.
So he was saying, hey, if you want some carpet, you can just come and get it from us. We'll give it to you free. We take it out every 5 years, and it's still in good shape. So we went ahead and got carpet from them for free and the padding for free. Then we went into South Dallas and said, hey, we'll install this for you, which they were thrilled. And this is something that is really crazy, is that we used to install carpet, padding, and installation for $3 a yard. So it was, but we made good money because it was all free.
Right.
So anyway, so that's how I got into used carpet. So then when the real estate market crashed, I thought about getting into used carpet again. So then I got into used carpet again, started selling it. Then I expanded to where there was a carpet company that had a distributor that had a sale every year of seconds, of carpet seconds. So I went to there, and it was like, there was this huge 60-ounce plush carpet I could buy for $4 a yard. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I had, shortly later, a lady contacted me, and she wanted some carpet, and she was willing to pay $8 a yard. And I said, hey, I think I know some carpet you might be interested in. So she met me out at the distributor. We pulled out that roll, and she said, this is perfect. So I bought it for $4 and sold it for $8 in the same day. And I was like, okay, we can make money doing this.
Yeah.
So we started gradually getting out of the used and getting into more and more of the seconds carpet and drops and overruns, basically buying discount carpet.
Yeah.
And then we expanded from there into laminate, wood, and everything else.
Yeah. You sound just like a real estate, but just a hustler.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk, because I know you're going to know this well, like talk about what a lot of people are complaining about the interest rate environment today, but talk about what that looked like in the 80s when you were getting started.
Well, just to give you an idea, the first house I bought to live in, I had a 17% first and a 20% second.
Wow.
To get into the house.
Yeah.
But the house, I think the house is only like $45,000.
A lot cheaper. Yeah.
A lot cheaper, and my payment was like $750 or something like that, and I can make that work. So
Yeah.
even though the interest rates were high because of the real estate price, it was still manageable.
Right.
But it was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
one of the things that I know about you, Kevin, is you're very generous. Like a lot of the things you do now are to support your ministries and things like that. Why don't you share a little bit about like why you do what you do now and how that purpose for, like I just talked about this in another podcast of like, you have to, a lot of times when you have some level of success, it's easy to get complacent, and you have to kind of tie your goals to somebody else or some impact or helping other people. Like kind of share your thoughts on all this and why you do what you do.
Okay, so in 1987 is when I became a believer, and we just committed to, we would run our business with biblical principles, treat everybody right, and then we also I gave 100% satisfaction guarantee, whatever the customer wanted, I would give it to them. So, and then we started a charity where we gave free flooring to needy families. So we would give it to the elderly families and fixed incomes, single moms, and generally people who were very poor health. So we just started giving. We got up to where we were giving away probably about 6 or 7 houses a month of flooring. So, because one thing that the Lord has always said to me was that if you have a need for somebody, I'll provide, and that's what He talks about in Scripture. But so then, so we've always been giving company and running it on biblical principles. Then when I sold it to my kids in 2018, I no longer had that income coming, and I had sold a business, so I had some money. So I sought the Lord as far as what should I do now to raise money. So it was to expand the cabinets and the flooring business. So now the purpose of our company basically is because I'm technically retired, but still working, right?
Yeah.
So what I do is, so the purpose of the company now, because I don't need the income because I'm retired, is to raise money for ministry. And it's either to expand the kingdom or help the needy. So that's the purpose that we have this company.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. Talk about maybe for folks that are kind of get stuck at some level that don't have, like, they're not thinking bigger than themselves. Like they're just trying to, build a business, but they kind of hit a level and they just get stuck. Like I've kind of found if you tie your goals to other people and other causes and stuff like that, I mean, maybe just talk about the opportunity that is out there for people that if they feel like they're stuck, is to maybe shift on, consider the goals of impact they can have, and
Right.
how they might help them get to another level.
Well, I think the most important for anybody who's trying to grow a business is the why.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing this? If you don't have a why, then to me you're just kind of wandering around.
Right.
So like when I first got in, my why was always to retire early. And the reason that is so because if I can retire, if I'm financially independent where I don't have to work, then I basically choose what I'm going to do with another 8 or 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
So my why was buying time, was to get that time. So I think you have to have a why that you're doing something, because if you're just doing it just to make money, it's not going to last, and you can become very selfish and very greedy.
Yeah.
But if you have a why of, like you want to have your wife stay home from work, or you want to have a family where she doesn't have to go to work, just where you have a why, I think that's really important when you're talking about goals.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to talk about sourcing products today. So a lot of folks want to source. I mean, I guess some of the reasons to source are obviously, hopefully save costs, right?
Right.
Save money. And I think where materials have kind of shot through the roof these days, like everywhere you can kind of save money. It also helps simplify too. If you could use, some of the same products over and over and over again. It's kind of funny. I mean, you've known, like, we've known each other for a long time. We're fixed and flipped hundreds of houses here. Another Kevin, my
Right.
contractor. And there were times where he'd be like, hey, can we change up the materials? Because the guys are kind of getting bored with the exact same tile. And I was like,
Right.
nope. Like, I just want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. So there's a
Right.
case for simplicity, too, of not having to rethink your materials on every single project, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so the one thing that, because again, what I did was after I sold the business, I had money. So my company that I sold to my kids, they sold a lot of vinyl plank, luxury vinyl plank. And so I made the decision to take some of that money and go to China and find a manufacturer. And so we would buy containers and bring it in, but then we would sell it to the end user, which, we could sell it at major discount because there's no middleman. There's no distributor, there's no retailer, we could straight to the end user. So we went to China and we started purchasing luxury vinyl plank, and we've got it down to 13 colors. So we have all these colors that we bring in by containers, and we sell them to the end user. So we did that with China, but the thing that's going on now in China is the new tariffs.
Right.
So when Trump was in office the first time, for those who don't know, the tariff on China used to be 5.3%. So when Trump came in, he upped it to 30%. So he added 25% on it. So, but we were able to weather that, because the manufacturers in China came down on their cost, and we had to go up on our cost. So it was able to work. But the thing is that now that Trump's back in office and has added more tariffs, so now anything coming from China, when he came in office, he initially added a 10% additional tariff, which brought it up to 40.3. And then as of March 4th, he added another 10%, which is bringing it up to 50.3% tariff. And then the rumor is that on April 2nd, he's going to raise it again. So So we have 14 containers that are on the water that we're going to have to pay tariffs on, but we've switched our manufacturing to Vietnam, where Vietnam only has a 5.3% tariff.
Okay.
So because of that, we're going to be able to still keep our prices down where they are. So I think the thing to look at is when you're going out and buying a product, where's that product coming from? Because now any company that buys luxury vinyl plank and sells luxury vinyl plank, and if they're getting it from China, the prices are definitely going to be going up.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting to think about how that, I mean, I don't know where, I guess if there's stuff made in Vietnam, like you said, there's probably some stuff that's made in Mexico, which they're about
There's
to
stuff
get
in
hit.
India,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Taiwan. I mean, there's different places that have it.
The interesting thing about entrepreneurs is they figure that out. Like we just
Right.
zig and zag and figure it out, right? So you just move to Vietnam for now, and hopefully that's not as big of an issue. And
Right.
yeah, eventually maybe some of that stuff starts to get manufactured here, which might, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that would come. I mean, manufacturing clearly would be more in the U.S., but it doesn't have a 60% tariff on it. So
No,
at
I
some
know.
point, yeah.
And that's just it, is that right now the United States doesn't make enough vinyl plank for this demand. So it has to be imported.
Right.
So I'm sure it'll probably increase in the United States, but the thing about it, it's more expensive to make here. Absolutely. There's
Yeah.
no question.
Yeah.
So I think with the additional tariff, which is going to be at 60.3% now and coming more in April, they might be able to get close to manufacturing, to be able to compete with that.
Right.
But for us who are going to Vietnam, we're still going to be able to offer really good pricing because of that. And like, for example, this vinyl plank that I have here, it's 5.5 millimeters thick, and it has a padding on the back. And we have it in two wear layers. We have a 12 mil wear layer, which we sell for $1.39 a square foot. And then we have a 22 mil wear layer, which sells for $1.49 a square foot, which is crazy prices.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can sell and ship this, anything probably over 1,000 square feet, we can sell and ship it to anywhere in the United States cheaper than they can buy it locally.
Mm. Okay.
So like this product right now at Home Depot is like $249.
Yeah.
So there's just no competing.
So you're selling it for like $1 cheaper per square foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, and
So-
1,500 square foot house, that's a pretty good saving.
Yeah, it starts to add up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you looked at sourcing, like, why did you pick flooring and cabinets? Like, of all the, I mean, I know other people that have sourced light fixtures and lots of
Right.
other things, but well, I guess a lot of people. I told you somebody else in our mastermind just was talking about sourcing, and they wanted to do windows and custom doors and stuff like that. Really, custom stuff doesn't make sense to import, right? It's got to be the stuff that you're
Yeah.
buying by the container load, right?
Right, it has to be staple products.
Yeah.
Products that are going to be used every day, in abundance.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, luxury vinyl plank is probably going into any starter home or any remodel that's under 600,000 or 700,000 is putting in luxury vinyl plank.
Yeah.
So the thought at that time when I decided to import was the fact that this is a product that's it's first of all it was cheaper than anything that was currently on the market, and it was a better product than anything that was currently on the market. So I knew it would sell in high volume.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, last year we imported over 100 containers of this vinyl plank from China.
Wow.
So, and that's like 3 million square feet.
Yeah.
So it's so we sell a lot of it.
Yeah. So who's the right person that would buy this product? You work with a lot of investors, and who's the right person? Who's your avatar? Is the rehabber? And
Our avatar when it comes to investors are, wholesalers we really don't sell to, but the thing about it is wholesalers sell to investors who buy and flip or buy and hold.
right.
So our avatar is basically the investor who is either buying to flip, and generally when they buy our cheapest product because they're flipping it,
Mm.
and then people who are buying to hold. And a lot of times the buy and hold people are buying our product, but they buy the better quality because it's a rental property.
Right.
Because our best quality has like a 30-year lifetime a 30-year warranty and like a 15-year commercial warranty.
Yeah.
Where the 12 mil is like a 20-year residential and like a 10-year light commercial. So,
It was interesting to me when I was coming up that with our rental portfolio that we started putting higher quality materials in our rentals than we did in some of our fix and flips. And it was simply because we were looking at, how do we make this thing last as long as possible? I mean, we were never trying to like not make something in a rehab look, but we might we don't do carpet and rentals at all anymore. We're doing
Right.
flooring that's going to last a really long time. But we would commonly put carpet in rehabs because it looked nice, it was cost effective, and most people want carpet, but our tenants just don't take care of your property.
no, they don't.
Yeah.
Usually, even with carpet, the tenant will ruin carpet before they wear it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because, if they get a stain in the carpet, they generally won't clean it.
Right.
And we've actually gone into houses where they did oil changes on a motorcycle in the living room.
Jeez.
So when they're rentals, they really don't care about them. But I think the vast majority of people that I know that are property management or buying rentals to hold, they're putting in LVP.
Mm-hmm.
Because LVP, first of all, it's 65% stone, so it's very durable. It's 100% waterproof. And your tenant, this is going to get ruined, which is very, very difficult to ruin before it'll ever wear out.
Mm.
So, I mean, this will last at least 10 years before it'll wear out.
Yeah.
Unless for some reason, like the tenant, had a nail sticking out of their furniture and just drug it across the floor and
Right.
scratched it. But it's not going to wear out.
Yeah. Yeah. When we use things like that, we typically put an extra case or two up in the attic. If we have to come back to
Right.
replace anything, right?
Right.
So, yeah. So your avatar of who you work with are the rehabbers and landlords, I guess. People that
Yeah.
have a lot of properties that just.
Right.
I mean, I know I'm not sure if it's quite this way anymore because we don't manage our rentals, but we try to use the same paint colors, a lot of the same things over and over and over again. Because if you have to come back and do it, you want to have backups to.
Well, yeah,
touch it
and you're
up.
right. That's what. Well, the thing is that our customers generally only order one color.
Right.
Because, they'll order a color that they like, and they'll just keep ordering and ordering and ordering it because what they don't use on this house, they just take to the next
Roll it
house.
over to the next one. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So generally we have, every once in a while we have somebody might order two colors, might order a gray and then a beige,
Yeah.
but most of them just order one color.
Yep. Yep. When people buy this from you, because you're buying it by the container load, and so how do they like what's the smallest order they can get? I mean, are people having to buy? Do they have to buy container loads from you and store it and all that, or?
No, they can. I mean, generally we usually sell all of our sales are generally for one house.
Hmm.
So, but the problem is if we're shipping it across the country and we ship less than 1,000 square feet, the freight cost is going to be a lot higher
Sure.
per square foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like right now, if somebody buys around a pallet or like 1,500 square feet, we can ship it to the Northeast for about 40 cents a square foot. We can ship it to Florida for like 30 cents a square foot. California's like 30, 35. Washington's like around 40 to 50 cents a square foot.
Yep.
So, but the other thing about us is because one thing that we have here in Texas is if we sell a product out of state and ship it out of state, we don't have to charge sales tax.
Oh yeah.
So that's a saving that a person locally saves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like if we ship it to California, it may cost 40 cents freight if they buy the $1.39, so they're getting it delivered to their house for $1.79 a square foot, and they just can't buy it that price locally.
Right.
So-
Yep. Yep. And I know, by the way, you brought that kind of sample book here. For those that are watching here, you've got a book, and if you're listening, you can't see this. You've got a sample book of, you said 13 different colors? Is that what it
13
is?
different colors.
Is that because of the original 13 colonies, Kevin, or is
Yeah,
that just
really.
coincident? Okay.
It's like we decided on so many colors, then it's like, then styles changed.
Yeah, of
Like
course.
now it's pretty much earth tones again,
Yeah.
and maybe a taupe color, which is kind of a gray and an earth tone mixed.
Mm.
But like, when we first started, everybody wanted gray.
Right.
So, so we had to bring in gray, and we brought in earth tones, but then Now we had to add 2 new colors that were just earth tones.
Yep.
So, but what we can do is, if anybody's interested in getting one of these strap sets, you can send me an email, to kevin@servantflooringandcabinets.com, and we can just ship you one of these for free. So then you would
That's
have
cool.
the samples that you can just order off of.
Yeah.
And then all you have to do is contact us through email, to be able to place an order.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I know you and we've worked together for years and years, and we've relied on you for, honestly, I think most of our flooring over the past 17 years. But and you're a sponsor of Investor Fuel as well, and so I know if we can kind of get the message out, we can help our listeners save money and work with somebody that has a higher cause and also
Right.
just does what they say they're going to do, which is kind of hard to find these days.
Right.
Yeah. So you talk. By the way, you also do cabinets, right?
Right.
You do. You assemble them on your own, right? They're white shaker cabinets primarily. Is that what you?
Yeah,
what you
we
sell?
only import white shaker cabinets because as of right now, and pretty much for the last decade, white shaker cabinets go into 70 or 80% of houses.
Yeah.
Whether it's a remodel, whether it's a new starter home build or anything like that, the shaker cabinets, white shaker is the only thing that goes in. So that's all we stock.
Yeah.
And the reason we stock that is it costs about $1 million in inventory to stock all you need of all the different sizes. There's probably about 140 SKUs of different types of cabinets that we have to stock to try and help everybody.
Yeah.
So the cabinets come in a box. I mean, if you're local here, we can assemble, but otherwise we ship them in the box to the customer, and they're very simple to the basic cabinets, the uppers and the basic bases are pretty simple to build because they just all slide together. They're all dovetail, so they slide together, and then and again, if we ship out of state, there's no tax because you're out of state.
Yep.
So, but and the thing about it is we can do renderings. If you have a kitchen, you just have dimensions. We can do renderings. It's a cost of $95. If you buy, then it'll be a minimum amount compared to the entire purchase.
Mm-hmm.
So we can do renderings, which will send you a 3D kitchen drawing of the cabinets, and then we can do any size kitchen because the cabinets all come in 3-inch increments. So like you have a 9-inch cabinet, 12, 15, 18, 21 on up, but we also have fillers. So like if you need, let's say you need an area that's 50 inches long, well, we can put up cabinets by 3 inches, which will get you to 48, but then we can put a filler in for the last 2 inches.
Sure. Yeah.
So we can build to any size.
And these are all, I've seen these, the first time I saw them, I was so surprised. They're pretty high quality. They're all solid wood, and they look really good, right?
They're all solid wood. The boxes are made of plywood, and they're painted oil-based paint from the factory, both inside and out, which most cabinets that you see that are ready to assemble, the inside is a earth tone or a wood tone.
Right.
It's just pretty plain on the inside. But ours are white, which makes it kind of an upgrade. Also, the door fronts, or the front of the cabinet, the doors and the drawers are all made of birch, so they're all solid wood. The drawers are soft close. They're full extension, but then, when you shut them, they're soft close and won't slam.
Yep.
And same with the doors. So,
Yeah.
and we have all kinds of cabinets up to Lazy Susans, pantries, oven cabinets. Pretty much anything you need, we can get.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, any horror stories, Kevin, of shipping stuff in? I can imagine when you got containers of stuff coming across the ocean here. And, of course, we don't have to get into the political side of it, but there's a bunch of changes going on, tariffs. You got the Panama Canal stuff going on, which
Right.
I honestly, I think a lot of these things will be good for us in the long run. It doesn't seem like it sometimes right now, but I'm sure you've got some. I know there were shipping delays during COVID. Like, you got to have some horror stories in here about
Yes.
having a bunch of money floating out there on the ocean.
Yeah. So so during COVID, we really cut down on the amount of vinyl plank that we bought because we couldn't afford it, and there wasn't the sales there because of COVID. But then after COVID ended, we started manufacturing back up and started selling again. But a lot of the products that I brought in I already had pre-sold. So normally we were paying about $30 to $3,500 ocean freight for a 20-foot container. Well, by the time all said and done, it peaked out at like $15,000 a container.
Oh, wow.
So during that time period, it lost a lot of money.
That's because the shipping yards were closed or all the transportation issues?
I think it was mainly because, basically China opened up again.
Mm-hmm.
During COVID, there wasn't very much being shipped from China. So when China opened up again, everybody placed all of these orders. Well, they didn't have enough containers.
Okay.
So they were limited on the amount of containers that could ship. So what do? They just increased the price on their containers.
Yeah.
This is what we got to have now. It's
Right.
supply and demand.
Yeah.
So then once all the rush of material came back and started getting caught up, then now the price of freight is back down again.
So back down to where it was? I know there's the tariffs and all the other things going on. What is
we're down to around $4,500 now,
that? Okay.
which is okay.
Okay. So if folks wanted to source stuff, obviously they can buy, and you have the scale too. You're doing 100 containers, so you get more scale than what other people would. But anything that people would want to source on their own, they should look at stuff like yours, cabinets, flooring, maybe ceiling fans and plumbing fixtures and stuff like that they need a ton of, I guess.
Right, and the other thing is if you're going to source from overseas, to get the best deal, you have to buy by the container.
Yeah.
And the smallest container you can buy is 20 foot long.
Yeah.
So, people who source overseas for investors would be like people who are buying light fixtures, ceiling fans, door hardware,
Yeah.
all the incidental stuff. You're not going to be able to source lumber, but the thing about it is you got to realize this is coming over in large, massive quantities.
Right.
Like, for example, a container of cabinets for us is about 700 boxes of cabinets, and it's all different sizes.
Yeah.
So the hard thing about sourcing windows or doors is the fact every house is going to be different.
Sure.
And you got hundreds and hundreds of styles of doors, and you got lots of different window sizes are all different.
Yeah.
So if you're going to source overseas, you really need to source something that you can use in every house, like plumbing fixtures, like we talked about, ceiling fan, light fixtures, doorknobs, is something that you're going to be able to use overall. First you got to have someplace to store it,
Right.
and then you're going to have to use it. So you're going to have to do 40, 50 minimum houses a year to be able to
Right.
afford to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Awesome. Well, so tell us one more time, Kevin, if folks are interested in learning more about your flooring options and your cabinet options, you want them to just email you, and what's the best email address again?
best email address is kevin@servantflooringandcabinets.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for spending time with you today. Always good to see you.
Good seeing you.
Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to say is that by us importing cabinets and actually we get our cabinets now from Vietnam already, so the tariffs affect that. So, but our prices are probably going to be 30 to 40% cheaper than Home Depot, just because, again, we buy by container and sell to the end user.
Right. That's awesome.
So.
Yeah, awesome. Well,
Okay.
thanks again for spending time with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
everybody.
it.
Hope you got some good insights from today. If you're interested in working with Kevin, I work with him personally for 17 years now across hundreds of rehabs and kind of keeping our rentals up to snuff and all that stuff. So he's a fantastic resource for those of you that are members of Investor Fuel. You know him well because he's been around for a long time. And if you don't, just wanted to introduce my friend to you guys. So hopefully you got some good value today to learn about sourcing, how to simplify your rehabs, especially if you're doing a lot of them or you have a rental portfolio that you want to kind of be uniform and simplify the process of keeping them all kind of looking roughly the same and simplify the maintenance process. But hope you got some good insights from today. We'll see you guys in the next show. Thanks for joining us for today's show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing on your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. You can also check out the show's notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and even how to work with me directly one-on-one. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. See you on the next show.